Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, Tally the Elf is back.
Also, have we finally gotten an answer on the New Jersey drone problem?
All that and more on the way next. Over the weekend, there wasn't a ton of college football unless you wanted to watch the FCS playoffs or Army-Navy, which I did. But there was the Heisman Trophy presentation.
Yes.
Which went to Colorado wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. And I know I shouldn't let things like this upset me. And I'm not here to knock Travis Hunter. He had a great season. He's a great player. He should go on to a fine NFL career.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he won the Heisman.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm confused by this one because to me, from the beginning of the season, this was Ashton GT's award to win.
Yeah.
And I never felt like there was any moment in the year where he lost it, that I'm like, oh, this is the moment where the voters are going to start putting their votes toward Travis Hunter or some other player. So I do feel like he got robbed of this award.
I'm with you. I think that the Heisman voters got it wrong. And what can we do? What can be done at this point? The award's been handed out, but I just feel like everybody needs to take a moment and recognize that Ashton Jeanty of Boise State, the running back, had a better season than Travis Hunter. I saw some great arguments as to why Ashton Jeanty should have won the award. Number one, this is a great way to put it. When we're talking about Ashton Jeanty's season, we're talking about the stats he put up. You're talking about in the ranking of all-time running backs, like one of the all-time seasons. Travis Hunter is like, yeah, he had a pretty good season for a wide receiver or cornerback this season.
Right.
He was one of the best wide receivers or cornerbacks this season. Ashton Jeanty had one of the great running back seasons of all time.
Right.
Ashton Jeanty had more yards after contact than any other running back had yards.
I mean, you would give him the ball and it was an automatic first down. He was averaging 11 yards per carry. Carry. That's crazy. And I think he was only like 130 yards away from beating Barry Sanders' record for FBS in total yards for a running back. So like he's amazing, but in my opinion, this should just invigorate him and his team so much as they go to the playoffs this Friday. They're playing.
They have a bye.
Oh, that's right. They have the bye. Well, the playoffs start this Friday, so I think that's why that was on my mind. But that should just invigorate them for whoever they're playing in round 2. They should be ready to go.
Yeah. I did see a lot of debate over the weekend of why Travis Hunter should win it. Most of the time, people said either it's because, he plays 2 positions. Yeah, but he's not the best at either one.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's impressive.
Right.
But that doesn't earn you the Heisman just because you play 2 positions. And 2, people were saying, well, Ashton Jeanty played in the Mountain West. That's not exactly a premier conference. Oh, and the Big 12 is. They're basically the same.
Basically the same at this point.
Boise State is ranked higher than the champion of the Big 12. Mind you, Colorado didn't even win the Big 12. They weren't even good enough to win the play. I don't know. The argument for Travis Hunter begins and ends with, he plays 2 positions. That's that's great.
Yeah.
But it's not the greatest.
No.
Ashton Jeanty's better. And I think it's nice that we have agreement here on the Hudson Show. We both agree. The show stance, Ashton Jeanty was robbed of the Heisman, and he deserves it. And I don't know what we can do. I don't know how justice will ever be served, but that's what it should be. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, no. I have a man in Massachusetts who was trying to evade police last week. He got stuck in a chimney. I don't know if Allie's going to be able to.
I don't think I can recover from that beginning.
It's so stupid. I was like, should I actually say this? It's really stupid.
I was like, where are we going? Keep explaining.
His name is Robert Langlace. He was wanted from police on drug charges. They're trying to chase him down in Massachusetts last week. And eventually he thought, here's how I can escape. I'll just hop down a chimney. He forgot to, he channeled his inner Santa Claus. He forgot to take into account one vital thing that Santa Claus has that he doesn't. Christmas magic. A normal person goes down a chimney, at least many chimneys, and it's not big enough.
Yeah.
What's crazy is this guy got, like, if you look at, there's body cam photo from the police that caught him. He got like halfway down. I didn't know that chimney, like, does it get more slender as you go down?
Yeah, it like slowly gets smaller. So you'll probably feel like looking down, you probably feel like you can make it through.
Because you can get through the opening.
Right, but as it gets closer and closer to the actual, place where the fire is in the home, it gets smaller and smaller, more narrow. So yeah, that's never a good idea to try and get into a home using the chimney.
That's something that Robert Langlace from Fall River, Massachusetts found out the hard way last week. So the police, they obviously caught up to him because he was stuck. And he was crying out that he was stuck. And so they had to call the fire department to rescue him. The fire department, I guess that's ironic, the chimney fire department. They had to like knock out carefully. It says they had to carefully knock out bricks from the chimney to be able to free him. And of course, now he has been locked up on drug charges. It actually makes me sad. It makes me sad to see this chimney because it's clearly not being used. It doesn't look very covered in soot.
Oh, yeah.
It seems that this family that owns this home has not been putting their fireplace that they obviously have to good use, which is sad. But I imagine that Robert Langlace is probably happy about that because although he did get stuck in the chimney, at least he didn't get covered in dust and ash and soot.
Right. Yeah, that would not have been a very fun feeling at all. So, yeah, that's rough, but that's what you get for running away from the police.
Yeah, he thought he had a master plan, but it did not work out for him. So now he's getting his just desserts, as they say. A future food fight we may need to do is Subway's upcoming foot-long Doritos nachos.
Ooh.
According to Snackalator, which is always collecting news like this on Instagram, Snackalator says in spring of 2025, Subway will be unveiling Doritos foot-long nachos. Is it fair to say Subway has been in their flop era for several decades? It feels like.
Yeah, it seems like, they're kind of flailing, where it's like they're not being successful at the one thing that they were always successful at, which is subs.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're not doing well with that anymore. We got a lot of competition with some other brands that are doing much better at this now. So
Jersey Mike's much better from what I hear.
So many other sub brands now, I feel like. And they've all gotten bigger, and Subway has not seemingly gotten bigger. It's just kind of been stagnant, if maybe even gotten smaller. But they seem to be trying a little bit of everything now.
My read on Subway too was that they spent all their money, it seems, on advertising, and not all of their money on making good food,
right?
Like putting out a good product. I can't say that I've been to Subway very often. Well, first of all, I can't say that I've been to Subway very often because I don't like it. And when I did go, I'm never walking away like, oh, I'm glad I went there. So I don't know if this is going to change that. It seems like they're switching their strategy. They're trying to go with what so many other fast food joints do, and that is coming up with something that maybe is more likely to go viral or, just like a unique thing. And they're really trying to play off of the foot long thing, like they own that. And that, you know what? They had the $5 foot long thing, and that worked. That was the last time I think people looked fondly on Subway.
Right.
So they're trying to recreate those memories by creating other foot long things. So I guess that works with nachos too. People like Doritos.
People do love the Doritos. As this article points out, Taco Bell was one of the brands that really, really skyrocketed in popularity. I mean, Taco Bell's been popular for a long time, but you can point to those Doritos Locos Tacos as a part of the reason why they're, so in the mainstream now.
That's true. It went from when they put out the Doritos Locos Tacos, they went from being Taco Bell, a pretty good fast food place, to, Taco Bell is fun and cool.
Right. And people were choosing Taco Bell a lot more often because of that. So, yeah.
Despite all of its flaws. And there are many flaws.
There are many.
Subway has many flaws as well.
So.
But maybe Doritos can cover up for that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're like, magic, can it happen again here?
This is a different time. I hope we may be a more discerning people than we were when Taco Bell just introduced the Doritos tacos, and we're like, yes, this is cool. I don't know if it works a decade plus later.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll find out in spring of 2025. Something to look forward to in the new year. Mm-hmm. Let's do our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't at the box office over the weekend. If you saw any movies, let us know at 8772 RadioU. I'll tell you what didn't make money is any of the new releases, particularly Kraven the Hunter, the new addition to the Sony Spider-Verse that does not include Spider-Man himself. Kraven the Hunter made $11 million in North America, about $26 million worldwide. To put it bluntly, that is not good.
No.
It had horrible reviews. And it was, despite being the biggest new release of the weekend, still only came in at number 3 at the box office. It sounds like this will be the end of the Sony Spider-Verse. All of these Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man involved are not going to keep getting their own movies.
No.
And nor should they, at least based off of what Sony has been putting out. These have almost universally been panned.
Didn't Madam Web also come out earlier this year?
I remember that. I was thinking about that, and I think it was this year.
Why would they come out with 2 of these in the same year?
No, you could have stopped it. Why would they come out with 2 of these?
Yeah, just in general. But yeah, like the fact that they are back to back and both of them are flops is a bad sign.
They've actually put out 3 because Venom 3 came out earlier this year, which also got horrible reviews. At least made a little more money.
Did do better in the box office.
Talking about what actually did make money, number 1 at the box office was Moana 2. Which made another $26 million in North America. It's now made over $337 million just in North America alone. Wicked was number 2 with $22 million. And the other new release that we mentioned on the weekend watch list was Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which is the new anime Lord of the Rings. That was number 5 with about $4 million. That's a combination of 2 things that I could not care less about. Anime and elves and witches and
You
wizards.
don't like Lord of the Rings?
No.
Really?
I just don't like things like that.
Okay, so you're not into like fantasy.
Yeah, that's right. Anything that has like dragons, fairies, elves, dwarves, don't care about it.
That is all things that are right up my alley. So it sounds like I'll need to add it to right up my alley.
Yeah. What did you actually, speaking of what's right up your alley, what did you actually watch while you were sick?
So I ended up watching more of Only Murders in the Building. I'm trying to get through season 4.
You need to catch up.
I know. And so far I'm absolutely loving it. It's hilarious. And I also watched a musical that came out last year, which, as we've determined on the show before, I am a huge fan of musicals. And it's Journey to Bethlehem. So it's the story of Jesus' birth.
With Lecrae.
Yeah, Lecrae's in it. And he's actually probably one of my favorite parts. His role is really hilarious. He plays Gabriel. But it's in my opinion, low-key very good. Yeah. So I really enjoyed watching that again. I watched it last year when it first came out, but I watched it again for the first time, and it holds up. I was pleasantly, enjoy all the music still. So yeah, I loved it.
I saw that it's on Netflix. So yeah, that's worth watching. I watched 2 Christmas movies.
Okay.
I watched one that is brand new. And that is, and we mentioned it on the weekend watch list, and that is Carry On on Netflix.
You wait, what?
Carry On
I did not think that was the one that you were going to mention.
with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman. It's like a thriller at an airport. It was very good. I'll say it was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. One of the best movies I've seen this year.
Okay.
Even though you have to just suspend a lot of disbelief. There's things that keep happening, and it's like meant to be realistic, like, oh, this could happen at an airport. And the whole time I'm like, I don't think this is what would really happen. But it was thrilling nonetheless. It had you on the edge of your seat. Filled me with a lot of anxiety. I did feel a little lied to. And I felt like, in a way, I lied to everyone because I said, this is a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve. And if they didn't say the beginning of the movie, it's like a Christmas song and there's Christmas trees and whatever. And then after that,
it's like not.
If they didn't keep saying, I'm not going to shut down LAX on Christmas Eve, you would not know it took place on Christmas whatsoever. So it doesn't give you the Christmassy vibes throughout the movie, which is disappointing, but it was a good movie outside of that. I also watched Jingle All the Way, which is actually deserves its own review, even though it's like 30 years old. Because it is so good. I don't know why I don't watch that. Make a point to watch that every single Christmas.
Yeah, it's good.
But quickly, first of all, the premise makes no sense in this day and age because it's like trying to find a doll. It's like, why wouldn't you just go on Amazon and just buy it? Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I have to say this. I love how Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's very subversive because he's like successful, good looking, whatever. And he in the movie is losing out. Like he's afraid of his wife and his child leaving him for Phil Hartman, the dork who's like just actually like a nice guy next door. You'd think like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, what would he be worried about losing?
Right.
Yeah. But it's because I just appreciated that aspect of it. And it's actually very funny. Yeah. That's your weekend or your box office breakdown. Today, Allie, we've already had our live Hudson Show Christmas party with everyone that can join in on the YouTube channel, whatever. But we have our staff Christmas lunch today. And here's what I want to know. Do you look at the menu when we're doing like a staff lunch or you're going to a restaurant? Do you like look at the menu ahead of time?
In all honesty, not usually. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I'd say probably for the most part, I wait until I get to the restaurant to look at the menu.
Really? How do you handle that?
I go and I look at the menu and I just, whatever speaks to me, I go for that.
You don't worry that if you don't look at the menu ahead of time that you'll panic and order something that you don't
I don't
want or that won't be the best thing on the menu.
It's probably better for me to pre-prepare and like look and see what I would like. But I guess I don't get stressed out enough for it where I'm like worried about I'm going to order something wrong.
I'm not stressed. There's two reasons. And I do this every Christmas lunch. Anytime we have a RadioU luncheon out, anytime I know that I'm going out with somebody else to a restaurant, I will look at the menu. I will look sometimes days ahead of time. I was looking at the menu for our restaurant that we're going to today yesterday. And I've been there a dozen times. No. But there's two reasons I do it. One is what I mentioned is if it's a place that you've never been or that's kind of unfamiliar, I want to make sure that I'm not going to panic, which is obviously a ridiculous thing to worry about. I'm not going to order something that I don't like.
Right.
But I just want to make sure that like I'm really sure because sometimes you just sit down at a restaurant and that's not, you sit for what, 5 minutes before you actually have to come to ordering, and that's not enough time to decide sometimes.
Maybe, yeah, sometimes. I feel like it gives me enough time, so I'm not too worried, but I may look at the menu ahead of time. I don't know. There's
that reason. The other reason is to get excited.
Oh.
And the restaurant we're going to today is good. So I was looking at the menu yesterday because I was like, I want to just like juice up my mood a little bit.
You're like, that's something to get Monday feeling better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Monday going back to work. Oh, but we're going out and look at what you're going to be eating. And so that did it scared away the Sunday scaries because I was just looking forward to today. So that is, I don't know, that's something that I've always done, but I'm surprised to find out that you don't share that same mentality. Late last week, Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year by Time. That's a pretty big honor.
Yeah.
You think about all the athletes, she's the one of the year. Now, it's odd to see detractors of Caitlin Clark coming out, especially when one of them is the owner of a WNBA team.
Right.
Sheila Johnson of the WNBA had some crazy comments. She said, first of all, I think this is the best one. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year? I'll tell you why, Sheila. Allie, you want to say it?
Because it's Athlete of the Year.
Yeah.
That's
because
the award.
And because the WNBA isn't the league of the year.
Right. Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. I would definitely not give, if there was a League of the Year award, I'm not giving it to the WNBA. But yeah, the clear top athlete out, if you're just pointing out the top athlete of the WNBA as a league overall, is obviously Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. She said also, I don't think we can pin it on just one player. You're right. Angel Reese, also very popular, right?
Sure.
But
yeah.
the WNBA wasn't getting a lot of attention a year ago.
Right.
Most people probably couldn't have even named an active WNBA player prior to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese entering the league. And now you probably know many more. The average person probably knows a few at least, but that's thanks to Caitlin Clark.
Right. And I think all credit due. I mean, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese really are the main reasons for this, but I definitely think you have to point at Caitlin Clark for this, because Caitlin Clark was not just big because she joined the WNBA, because she was drafted in the WNBA. She was big beyond that, and she just brought that presence to that league. And so it's just, Caitlin Clark has been a story that's bigger than the sport of basketball for so long. So it makes sense that Time would name her Athlete of the Year, because they typically pick somebody like that, you know, somebody that transcends their sport.
Right. She's also said, when we just single out one player, it creates hard feelings.
Okay, well, we can't choose an Athlete of the Year based off of if it's going to hurt someone else's feelings. Okay, you know, this isn't an award. This isn't like the Heisman, you know, where you're cheating someone else because they got that. They were selected as the Athlete of the Year or something like that. It's very, you know, the only one person gets this out of all sport. It's not just getting this for the WNBA. You know, they're not giving this to multiple people. What
I think too, and I've said this about the WNBA, I love that Caitlin Clark has come in and created a lot of animosity where you see that the players, some of the other players really do not like her.
Right.
And really have a chip on their shoulder because of that and play with an edge. And so I think for the WNBA, it's even better to have Caitlin Clark be the Athlete of the Year if it is going to create hard feelings.
Ooh.
I like that when players, I cannot say this enough about the NBA, that players sit out games, they have too many regular season games, they don't care, they're all friends off the court, and then on the court they're friends too. So they're not like, the only time you see players in the NBA playing with an edge is like basically the Warriors when Draymond Green is out there clubbing people.
Exactly.
Which I don't like that.
No.
But I like the edge that they have.
Right.
And I wish that the NBA had more of that competitive nature to it. And if the WNBA can create that, then it's also basketball. And if the players actually care about the games they're playing, then that makes me as a fan, as a passerby, actually care about it too, much more than the NBA where if the players don't care, why should I?
I don't agree with your takes on the NBA, and I think the WNBA should be something that's celebrated. I do think they put a good product out there, but unfortunately, it hasn't been. It has been passed by.
Yeah,
and so I feel like Caitlin Clark coming around, Angel Reese coming around has been a great thing, but I don't think you can ignore that Caitlin Clark is the reason why people are not watching it.
It's one. I mean, you can. It's not taking away from the rest of the WNBA to say that Caitlin Clark brought a whole new light to it.
Yep.
And is the Athlete of the Year. Now, last week, we did talk here on the Hudson Show about all of these mysterious drone sightings that people have been spotting around New Jersey and over into Staten Island, it seems. We have an update. What was that sound? We don't really. I wish I could say we have an update that actually has some concrete information. We really don't. What we do know is, according to the Department of Homeland Security, the drones appear to be able to avoid detection by traditional methods such as helicopter and radio. They can avoid that, but not the traditional method of using your eyes, because people have been able to see them. The most traditional method there is. The number of sightings continues to go up, and the FBI has concluded that drones do not belong to the U.S. military and that foreign governments aren't behind the objects either. So I don't know. It's not good that the FBI is saying, well, they're not ours, but we also don't know who they belong to. But they don't belong to foreign governments.
All right, so who do they belong to?
Who is left for these to belong to?
Who's left on the list? I mean, we already said, like, it's probably something where it's way too big for just a random person that likes to fly drones.
Yeah.
That they would own something like this. Like, it's the size of an SUV, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, who's left on the list if you rule out all foreign governments?
Yeah. So it doesn't belong to the United States government. It does, or at least military. It doesn't belong to a foreign government. That's not leaving so it's an individual.
Yeah, private sector or aliens.
Yeah. Or what do you think the odds are? Because this is my theory.
Okay.
They're lying.
I mean, I want to put it past them.
I think that if I had to, and I think there's a lot of options, but I think if somebody was pressing me on this and I had to come up with a theory, my theory is that it is something that's from the United States military that they're testing out, and they're fine with people seeing it, maybe, I guess, but they don't want to actually confirm anything. And so they can just say, we don't know, and get away with that.
Right.
And maybe it's something where they are testing, like, what will people think if they start seeing these things? Maybe it's that kind of thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, that's the only reason why it makes sense that you would test this in Jersey. If you're going to be just flying drones to test them, and you don't want people to know that you have this new technology or something, then you'd surely be flying it out in Arizona or Montana or somewhere where there's a lot less people
Area
around.
51, perhaps.
You know, somewhere where there's less people, out in the desert somewhere. So yeah, it seems odd that if they were hiding it and being like, oh, this isn't us, we don't know who this is from.
Yeah.
That they would be like, yep, we're flying it in Jersey, New Jersey, where there's lots and lots of people.
Yeah, it doesn't add up necessarily. It is funny. Every theory that has come up that has really been like posited by anybody of note, the powers that be keep saying, no, it's not that. Yeah. It's not. What is it? We don't know, but it's not that.
It's not that.
It's whatever you said is definitely not that.
We can somehow rule that out.
Yeah, we know it's not that. We don't know what it is.
But how do you know?
It doesn't make sense.
No.
It doesn't make sense to me. I think they're just lying. On the Hudson Show, we have a special guest today. One of the biggest stars, I would say, to ever grace RadioU. They've got a new album out. Just came out a few weeks ago called Revolution. And they're about to head out on Winter Jam Tour. John from Skillet, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Great to chat with you.
Yes, John, I'm excited to get to chat with you again. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Winter Jam Tour. Now, I don't know if you can see John, but we do here have the RadioU studios all decked out for Christmas. We're real excited. And that leads me to a question. I know this is going to be tough, but you've done a lot of things with Skillet. It's been a long time. How come you've never put out a Christmas song?
I knew you were going to say that. I did. I totally knew it. I felt it coming, you know. We actually thought about doing it this year for the first time and just do the record release thing. Maybe not. But maybe next year. I've got a good feeling next year is going to be the year for a Skillet Christmas song. We need a Skillet Metal Christmas.
Yes, we need it. We've got the RadioU Christmas channel here, and I think it's missing some skillets, so that would be amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of metal, John, I know you're a big metal fan, obviously, but also an 80s metal fan. I actually heard you on an interview a few years ago with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, which was probably one of the most interesting interviews I've ever heard you do. I want to know, as a person who loves 80s metal, what's your favorite 80s metal Christian band?
Oh, man. Well, I'm a huge Petra fan, and I don't think you'd call Petra metal exactly. I call them rock. But Petra is, to me, like the all-time greatest Christian rock band, And so if I was going to say my favorite Christian metal band, I was a big fan of a band called Barren Cross. I don't know how many people know who Barren Cross was, but Barren Cross was sort of Iron Maiden-ish, and they had an amazing vocalist. And I loved Barren Cross. But the truth is, I just loved all of it. I mean, I loved White Cross.
Yeah.
Stryper, of course. You have to love Stryper. Without Stryper, there'd be no Skillet. There'd probably be hardly any Christian metal without Stryper.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I love all of that stuff. It's such a. I was just a fan of Christian metal, and when you're a fan of Christian music, you just kind of jump in with both feet, and then you end up loving everything. So I don't know. That's my story. Deliverance was a great.
There
Christian
you go. Now you've given.
Band, yeah.
Some people are so excited about what you said, and some are like, I don't know what you're talking about, but since it's John from Skillet saying it's good, I'm going to have to go listen.
Go check it out.
Yeah, Deliverance is good. Deliverance will make you, that's a good one for the gym. Are you ready for attack? I love that stuff. I love it, man.
Yes. All right. Well, enough about other bands. Let's talk about Skillet. Y'all are about to head out on Winter Jam. It kicks off right after the new year. And I know you guys have done Winter Jam a couple times before. So tell us what is going to make this stop or these stops on Winter Jam Tour this time around unique for somebody going to see Skillet again.
Well, for one thing, we have a new record out. Not to make it all about Skillet, but we do have a new record out, which means you get to play new music. So we're kind of quite excited about it. We're revamping our set, revamping our set list, revamping the live show, playing new songs. So for us, it's a very exciting time. It probably feels exciting for lots of reasons because our new record is our first independent release we ever did. And so we've been on Atlantic Records for 20 years up until, we just ended. And so that was kind of fun because then we got to do our own record, do it the way we wanted to do it, and make the songs that we wanted to make. And that's not to say we were totally under all these strictures before. It wasn't really like that, but there's a feeling of freedom and a feeling of excitement that we were saying what was on our hearts to say. We made the record we want to make. So everything feels new and fresh with Skillet. So that's, I don't know, that's probably a selfish answer, but there's my holiday selfish Skillet metal Christmas. Selfish for Christmas.
You know what? I think there's going to be a lot of people that are excited just to see Skillet, and all the other stuff is just gravy. So Winter Jam, it's going to be a lot of fun. It is coming to RadioU Columbus on January 25th at the Schott Center. So all the details for that are at radiou.com/Ohio. John, we're looking forward to seeing you out on Winter Jam. Thanks for joining us, and have a happy holidays.
Yeah, I hope you guys do too. By the way, I love your festive lights. I can see them in the background. Very good work. I need to do some lights here, but I'll do it next time when we have our Skillet Metal Christmas. Thanks to all the fans out there for supporting us. We really appreciate you.
Yes, thanks, John. It's the Hudson Show. We have another update from Disney World. Tally the Elf. We've mentioned him a couple times here on the show. First, he was capturing hearts and minds by checking Santa's naughty list for parade watchers at Disney World. Then it seemed that he was pulled from the Christmas parade at Disney World because some claim that he had been doxxed, that people were shouting out his real name and details about him that they had found out online, and Disney couldn't stand that. And so they pulled him away.
It seemed like, at least the speculation was, this meteoric rise in fame, this virality, where suddenly out of nowhere, this actor, performer from Disney is getting millions and millions of views, and everybody's loving these videos and sharing them. and now he's not in the parade anymore. So it just seemed like it was, tied together.
Yeah.
People were sharing his personal information online, saying his name, online. So his real name. So it just seemed like, okay, maybe Disney decided it was for the best for this actor's safety, and also he's no longer just kind of an anonymous character, like what they want for their characters at Disneyland and Disney World. So they pulled it, but that might not be the case.
Yeah. According to Disney itself, they claim that he was not pulled because of any kind of performer integrity rules. He wasn't being punished or anything like that. In fact, it was just scheduling issues, and Tally's back, baby. The Tally. They do say that Tally was still a part of the parade, Tally the Elf.
Yeah.
It was just being performed by a different actor.
Right.
But it's not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, that's like if you give Mickey Mouse a different voice, all of a sudden he doesn't really seem like Mickey Mouse anymore.
Right. No one was by the whole other Tally actor or whatever. Sorry.
It was an imposter.
Right. We don't want to dog on you, but you're not Tally.
Sorry. Yeah, but the true Tally seems to be back. They just claim it was a scheduling issue. So I think Disney has sent a clear message by bringing Tally back, and that is it's okay to dox their characters.
I don't know about that, but I do have a question. Do we believe them? With this reasoning, like, we pulled the character, and people absolutely got so outraged on social media saying, how could you do this? And they were really dogging anyone that was, coming out with this guy's name. But definitely they were mad at Disney for folding to this. And so do we buy that Disney, it was actually scheduling conflicts, or they're more just like using this as an excuse and be like, hey, he's back. Don't get rid of the goodwill you had for us this Christmas season.
It seems a little sus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That he would just randomly disappear
Right.
in the 1 month of like when this parade is going on. It's like you can clear that 1 month in your schedule to do Tally the Elf like 5 days a week or whatever. It seems a little. I feel like I'm on the same page with you that is and just as he was blowing up, he disappears.
Yeah, that's the part to me that's a little odd, where it's like just as he goes viral, gets huge on social media, they're like, and he's out.
Yeah,
what's happening? So yeah, that was a little oddball, but I definitely hope that it was all on the up and up.
No, yeah, I think I'm not sure I can trust Disney. I feel like they were lying, and you know what that means? Naughty. Now, a change is coming in China, where they have decided their government is urging colleges and universities to start teaching some new classes. They want to teach college students all about love.
Oh, no!
China, as well as many other Asian countries, has been having an issue where their birth rate is not high enough to sustain their population. China has the second biggest population in the world, 1.4 billion people, but their population is aging, and more people are choosing in China to not have kids, or like they just never wind up getting in a situation where they can have kids.
Right.
And so what China's government wants the colleges and universities to do is teach a love education class of some kind that emphasizes positive views on marriage, love, fertility, and family to help boost the country's population and their birth rate.
Man, these stories keep cropping up. Last week we were just talking about Tokyo implementing the 4-day week for their work week so that they could also improve their birth rate, which is really bad.
And in China, they're like, we could never go to a 4-day work week.
Right. No. The number one is just educating people on love.
We got to get ahead of things.
Yeah. So, I was already pre-laughing before you even really got into the juice, the meat of the story, just because I find it hilarious. I mean, first of all, your government implemented a one-child policy for decades.
Yeah.
And now they're seeing maybe that wasn't such a good idea. What should we do? How do we fix this? It's like you got yourself in this problem.
You fix it with love.
Love education.
Love education. And let me tell you, I know somebody who might be a good professor. I'm offering my services if China, any of their colleges or universities need somebody to teach their college students in the way of love.
I'm dying over here, guys. I'm dying.
I think I might be able to offer my services. Who better to learn from than the master?
Oh no, China, please don't listen to this.
Watch your birth rate skyrocket after hiring.
Oh, dude, Hudson.
After hiring the Hud father to take over.
We all know that they should be encouraging the opposite. That's what will really increase the birth rates, you know, because in the American system for years, they were teaching about, you know, not doing any of these things. And it's like in teen pregnancy went skyrocketing up. So what they should be doing is telling people, no, don't have families, don't have children. And people won't want to do it.
I'll let you test out that strategy. We're both available to be professors in China to help boost their birth rate. We'll see whose strategy works.
I'm literally crying, Hudson. Like I'm crying.
Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.